going. We're live. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of Five Dumb Things. I am your host, Darren J. Gendron, and my co-host is Brandon J. Carr.
Hi,
Say
Darren.
hi, Brandon.
How are you doing?
We are not sure if you're a robot or not, so that's going to be something we'll figure out as the year goes by and we talk about stupid stuff. Or we could just ask you, are you a robot, Brandon?
No. I'm programmed to reply. I mean, no.
Okay. Let's go over the rules of the dumb idea that we came up with here. We're going to talk. Each one of us are going to bring up things that we like or think are dumb in movies. Of course, I don't have my cheat sheet up. Movies, television, video games, music, and anything else. We're going to discuss the merits of each topic. We have a guest judge on some episodes, and we're going to decide which of the things we bring up are dumb. In this particular episode, the ruling of dumbness is going to be handled by the one, the only, Ryan Estrada.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm that guy.
Hi, Ryan. How's it going? Ryan, I'll leave the camera on you here for a second. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Ryan Estrada. I'm a cartoonist and storyteller who travels the world. I currently live in South Korea. You can find all of my stuff at ryanestrada.com. I have a webcomic with a bunch of artists called Broken Telephone that will be wrapping up in a little over a week. So check those things out if you want to know what I do.
It's very exciting stuff. You're actually broadcasting from South Korea right now.
Yes, I am.
Okay, I am broadcasting from sunny, for at least the next 30 minutes, California. And Brandon, where are you out of?
I am in dark and misty and a little bit muggy Virginia.
It's like we're a world of geekdom and stupid and dumb. Let's get this started. I have a little clock to my side here so I can keep track of things. We're going to start with movies. Brandon, do you want to talk movies first, or would you like me to go on that?
I'm going to let you go first.
All right, we'll start my little countdown timer. The timer means almost nothing, by the way. I'll try to keep each topic to about 5 minutes. That's just to remind me. Currently, my obsession is the Deadpool movie. It's coming out in February. I've been watching. They just came out with a new preview for it, right? Another R band. They added some specific jokes just for the Christmas season, which makes me wonder, have they actually shown us any jokes that are going to be in the movie, or are we getting just alternate jokes right now? I'm not sure which one I'd rather have at this point. Do you know what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are we already starting to draw some Deadpool? I think I might leave it on you for a little bit here. We'll show off some Deadpool as I talk a little bit about this. First off, on the movie's merits, some of the reasons that I'm very excited for it. T.J. Miller, I think this has been a fairly good year for him, and by year I mean probably about 2-3 years at this point. He's definitely been getting a ton of work, and so far I've yet to get annoyed with him.
Which seems surprising, because T.J. Miller seems like the kind of person that could wear on you pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But I'm in the same boat.
I think I'm gonna have more T.J. Love Miller love for T.J. Miller later. I'm not gonna talk about Silicon Valley today, but that's definitely something that I'm going to obsess about later. I can see. The other one, I was looking at the writers for Deadpool. Paul Wernick, Rhett Reese, these guys are the guys that did Zombieland, and as a writer myself, that gets me excited when I see the writers of a very clever movie doing what should be a very clever movie.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think tone-wise, there's a lot that's very tongue-in-cheek about Deadpool, one would hope. Mm-hmm. And one thing about Zombieland that was so unique was the way that it directly addressed the audience. Which I think is something, obviously, we want to see in a Deadpool film. A
very shaky fourth wall, if possibly non-existent. And then they even throw in things like one of my favorite mutants from Grant Morrison's run on New X-Men that has a Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Mm-hmm. To me, if I were a teenager with mutant powers, that is the name that I would want as a mutant. Like, that actually sounds like the really dumb name that I would have thought was super cool when I was 12. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like the AOL Instant Messenger screen name that people were stuck with for years.
Right.
Well, okay, Ryan, what was your worst AOL? What was your worst screen name, Ryan?
Probably my first one was I had a comic and the characters were named Chaos and Psycho, so I named myself that, but it was too long, so it was Chaos and Psych, but it was all spelled weird, and it was not a good name. I was stuck with it way too long because I didn't know how to change it.
Oh my gosh, I'm seeing this as like the spin-off to that one cable TV series Psych, where it's just the same characters, but a chaos god just hanging out with them.
There you go.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have a screen name of shame?
I have a few, actually. I was pretty prolific in the earlier days. I had, back in the days of BBSs, actually before AOL, Grendel Red was one that I had because I thought it sounded so cool. Because I liked Beowulf, the character there. Then I discovered Matt Wagner's comic Grendel, and so I added the red because that made it edgy, I guess. And so there was that one. There are more, most of which I can't recall, thankfully. But yeah, I certainly understand because I was stuck with that one for some time.
Yeah, I'd have to say that red is like the second edgiest color out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got black, and then we got red. Yeah. What else do I need to say about Deadpool? I will say it has gotten DMX's X Gonna Give It To You stuck in my head like a lot over the past couple weeks, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there are worse tracks to get stuck in your head.
Okay, so that's my case for Deadpool. What is your movie? And we'll try to figure out if we're going dumb or something that you genuinely like with your movie.
Well, in this case, I actually picked something that has already come out, which actually came out earlier this year in May, and was absolutely clobbered at the box office for a number of reasons. But I'm going to talk about Tomorrowland, which I recently saw for the first time just a few days ago. My wife and I were deciding what movie to watch for an evening, and we had wanted to see it. It got such bad reviews and bad word of mouth, so it was one of those, I guess we'll watch Tomorrowland, which didn't make any sense to me because Brad Bird is an amazing director. I like Damon Lindelof's work on The Leftovers and Lost, so it made sense. And I loved it. Loved every second of it, and I think that a lot of the failings came down to marketing, which was intentionally mysterious to the point of offering nothing about what the movie was about.
I remember Clooney is in it. And
right, exactly. That was the marketing. Like, hey kids, you like George Clooney? Here's a movie. But the thing about it is, George Clooney, while he is great in it, is actually overshadowed by the two young women that are in the movie, Britt Robertson and Raffi, I believe, Cassidy, who shine through and really make the movie. They keep it moving. They do a fantastic job. And then this movie, which cost $190 million to make, made $209 million worldwide, which is not great. And a lot of that had to do with, reviewers didn't know how to approach it. The marketing was off the mark. And I think that also, at its core, it's a movie about hope and optimism and shaking loose negative feelings and energy and really moving forward, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. Some people like getting stuck in their negative energy spirals, I guess. But I loved it, and it ends on such a hopeful note, spoilers, that I almost immediately wanted to watch it again because I liked the feeling that it gave me. So I'm very sad that it didn't do better, only because I don't know if that's going to affect whether or not we're going to see something like it again in the future.
So I guess the first question I have is, do you feel there was anything gained by it being as secretive as it was?
No. I think that, well, there's so much spectacle to it. One thing that I'm going to do what the marketing didn't, and I'm actually going to tell you what it's about. Tomorrowland itself it's sort of a just on the other side of a dimensional hop land that was created in order to bring together the smartest scientists, the most brilliant architects, the forward thinkers of the time. That time being before Clooney was a child, and it goes sour. There's a whole note of cynicism that takes it down and takes the regular world down with it. So the secrecy may have come from the fact that that's a hard story to describe, and so it may have been easier to go, ooh, look what we've got in this magic mystery box, as opposed to trying to actually explain anything. And if you show a lot of the visuals, and like I said, it's all spectacle, then you potentially give some stuff away. Because I mean, going into it, not knowing much about it, you get more out of it. I agree, but I do think in the long term it hurt the actual box office results.
Now, another hard question for you: if this movie, being a bomb, ends up being the catalyst that forces Brad Bird to go back to being an animation director, would you be okay with that?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Well, Brad Bird's live action films are Tomorrowland and the Mission Impossible movie that I didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. So I don't think it would be that big of a loss. I mean, he's already going back to the Incredibles sequel, which I'm very excited about. We were able to see the Iron Giant again when it was released in the theaters, which may have been his way of saying, "But guys, you liked my movies before, remember?" Which was fine. Like, that was great. It was a good opportunity to sort of rediscover Brad Bird, because Iron Giant again was not a big box office smash when it came out, which is insane, because that's another one that really can get to you with its message, and it has some really moving moments to it, especially for a cartoon. But I don't know. It was interesting seeing his mindset, coming from animation, coming from The Simpsons, coming from Iron Giant and Pixar, applying that to a live-action setting, and I would love to see more of that. Mm-hmm. In fact, based on the spectacle and the way Tomorrowland fits together and everything, this is a director that you could hand a Star Wars film to and have something entirely unique come out of it. And I know he turned down, I think, Episode 7 so that he could make Tomorrowland.
It was either 7 or 8 that they were talking about. Was it actually 7? Do we know that?
I don't know. I don't recall.
Okay.
I know it was one of them.
His mission. While you're looking that up, his Mission Impossible movie was really interesting to watch, because you could tell it was the first time he was going from where he had a lot of freedom to do his own thing to where he had to deal with Tom Cruise. Yeah. Because in Pixar famously, he was the one that wouldn't put the truck in the Pizza Planet truck. He doesn't want to just do what's been done before. But then you could tell there were things in the previous Mission Impossible movies where they had that thing where they would pull off a face and it was totally Scooby-Doo. Right. You could tell Tom Cruise is well, we need to put that back in. So it happens in the background of a shot where there's dust in front. So he clearly did the bare minimum that I put it in there, Tom Cruise, it's fine. But there would be moments that are really visually interesting, and then there's Tom Cruise made him put that in there.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I loved it.
Yep. Let's turn to the esteemed, the honorable Judge Estrada. Which is the dumb thing there? Is it Deadpool or is it Tomorrowland?
Well, my review of both, I enjoyed watching Tomorrowland, but I completely forgot what it was about until you just told me. So it wasn't that memorable or interesting to me, even though I'm a huge Brad Bird fan. And Deadpool, I'm really looking forward to. It looks really funny. It looks really interesting. It's a character that I don't know much about except for seeing internet memes. But one of the things that does bug me is there's a lot of the jokes that I know are running Deadpool jokes, like chimichangas and stuff, that I'm guessing there was a comic where it was really, really funny once because it was random. But if you keep repeating it, then it's not random anymore. It's just a thing. But I think it's going to be a really fun movie. So even though I I liked Tomorrowland. I'm gonna have to call that the dumb one. Sorry.
Tomorrowland is officially dumb. Okay.
I don't know how this show works, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how the show's gonna work either. We're finding this out. It is new territory. I like the idea that we're probably going to pick things that we know in our hearts are good. Like in both these cases, I think these are reviews to say, hey, go out, check this out if you can. But there are also going to be things that it's going to be, go out, check this out, this is incredibly dumb and you need to see this. We'll definitely get one of those later. Television, though. Brandon, I want you to start on this one.
All right, if I must. I want to talk about The Flash.
Yes, I'm making you start because you did give me a subtle hint that you were going to be doing this. You called dibs on it and made me angry.
Oh,
yes.
I'm terribly sorry. So The Flash is it's an interesting example of how Marvel and DC are handling their media properties. Because you've got the Marvel movies, which are, while they have their intense or serious moments, are fairly light and sort of more cartoony superhero experience, and then DC's film properties are Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, which are really heavy and very dense and
Suicide
very serious.
Squad as well.
Suicide Squad, yeah. So then, on the flip side, Marvel's TV properties, including some moments on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., are a little bit heavier. Daredevil and Jessica Jones being good examples of them really pushing it to a darker edge. Then on the flip side of that, DC's TV properties are crazy fun. I'm assuming that you wanted to take The Flash because The Flash is super fun. I started watching it from the beginning. I watched the pilot, which I know came out a ways before the series started. And I watched it right before it properly went on the air, and I enjoyed it so much more than I expected. And I don't know, I think it's because I had seen a little bit of Arrow a while before. It was fine.
Was there that I had this nervousness when I heard that they were doing Flash, that they were going to try to make it as grounded and gritty as everything else they've done at this point.
That was absolutely a concern. I thought that it was, and I couldn't figure out how they were going to make that work, because I think trying to go with grounded and gritty with the Superman property didn't work, in my opinion. I did not enjoy Man of Steel. So I was a little bit worried about The Flash, and also I don't know much about The Flash. It's not a comic that I've regularly read. So I thought I'd check it out. The only thing I knew Grant Gustin from was Glee, where he played a real jerk. So I was trying to figure out how they're going to make him likable, how they were going to make the show work, and I loved it. I loved the pilot because it introduced us to the world very quickly. Grant Gustin is incredibly likable as Barry Allen. The fact that oh God, I've completely forgotten his name. That the Flash from the original '90s series.
Mark Hamill.
Nope. No, he's prankster. Oh my God, I've forgotten.
Oh, jeez, yeah. The guy with the way too perfect teeth. Yeah.
Anyway,
but he's a cameo in Flash.
John Wesley Shipp. Yes.
Yes.
So he plays Barry Allen's father, and that was really nice. I love Jesse L. Martin. From Law and Order, originally from Rent, to which I believe there was actually a Rent reference in The Flash, which I very much enjoyed. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. The relationships never get too heavy. They did a little bit of course correcting, I think, as the season went along, as things were a little bit shaky to keep them lighter. One thing I was worried about when they did Arrow crossovers was they were going to bring the heavier feeling of Arrow over, but they did a little bit, but they actually wound up making Arrow a little bit lighter, which I enjoyed. There was a reference in one of the crossover episodes where one of the characters from Arrow said, "Oh wait, this is supposed to be the fun place," because everyone was all grumpy. And I like that. I like that it's playful. I like the characters. Another name that I've forgotten, the gentleman who plays Harrison Wells, who was the brother on Scrubs and was on the show Ed. God, I should have.
Oh gosh, and I'm not even gonna look it up. Like, I could see his face. He plays Harrison Wells.
Right.
He plays a tremendous mentor type character. That's all I want. I think they do so much comic book good in there. They put a freaking gorilla. They put Grodd in it. I don't care. I'll spoil that little bit of it. The fact, because if you're a Flash fan, you know Grodd, and it is the least believable thing to put into a series or movie. It's a psychic gorilla. And they just we're going to give you Grodd. This is going to happen.
Right. And it was great. The first Grodd episode was fantastic, and the visual effects on the show overall are sometimes uneven. There are some moments where you think to yourself, "I'll let it go," because it's not the best. But then there were some Grodd moments where the lighting and the positioning were phenomenal. When Firestorm shows up, the flame effects that they use for his flight and for his head being on fire look outstanding.
It looks believable. It looks right.
And for a TV show, especially, and I know a lot of these things were done after their initial hiatus, after their break, and when they knew that they already had a hit on their hands, so they could shovel some more money into it.
Yeah. There's definitely a point where you can see, oh, hey, they have a budget now. Okay, let's see what we can do with this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Mark Hamill returns as the Trickster in the same, basically playing the same role that he played in the '90s series. They
even show him. Yeah, they keep the costume from the '90s as canon. They scoot the Flash out of it because of reasons, but
Right.
Yeah.
And what I think is neat about that, just one more point, is that one thing that they've introduced on this series is the multiverse. So it's perfectly reasonable to believe that there was another universe in which maybe Barry Allen's dad was the Flash as Barry Allen, and the Trickster was there, and so all of it can potentially exist within the same multiverse, which is neat. It's an interesting way to look at all of their properties in general.
Now, Ryan, you being out of country, how up to speed on Arrow and Flash are you?
I'm up to speed on a lot of television, but I haven't watched a single episode of either of them.
Oh, wow. In that case, I will present the case of Arrow, which is the other half. It should be noted, we're not talking about Supergirl at the moment just because we had to pick one each. Supergirl actually apparently takes place in the same universe. They've just said that's good. In fact, the NBC series Constantine now is canon and part of the Arrowverse, as it's being called. Arrow is the one that sort of got this whole ball rolling. It has such a Smallville-y start to it that I avoided it for its whole first season. Just didn't even give it a shot. Didn't like the way it looked. They had grease paint over Steve Amell as part of his mask. So I was waiting for every single episode of having the scene of him dabbing his eyes to hide the fact that he was dressed up as Arrow, because it made no sense. Eventually, they hang a lampshade on it, and they're like, "Why are you painting your eyes like that? Here, have a mask." They literally hand him a mask to make him stop painting his face. It's also for those that are Kamen Rider fans. I noticed this at one point. So when you guys are watching this, if you're longtime fans, Green Arrow has a henshin device. Every single time he feels the need to arrow up and get ready to go fight crime, he grabs his bow. He's always in street clothes when he does this. 100% of the time, he's in street clothes. He grabs his bow, and I'm just waiting for that moment where he has to set the bow back down, go over to the armory, and pull out his actual Arrow costume. They never show us that, but I love the fact that this is a thing that he has to do on a daily basis. it's also a show that's got a premise built into it of he spent 5 years on an island, yeah, and like that's what made him Arrow. So they always flash back to this island. So and they keep the flashbacks in lockstep to whatever's happening that season. So it's always the flashback of 5 years in the past. So I really can't wait for season 6. I'm really looking forward to season 6 of Arrow when they just flash back and it's just scenes completely whole cloth taken from season 1. And they try to make it work. Like there's no cohesiveness to it at all. It's just Ollie flashbacks of him showing up and hanging out with Tommy Merlin. Yeah. And I will give Arrow this huge bit of credit. You guys remember Birds of Prey, the Birds of Prey TV series?
Yep.
Yeah, that show bothered me on an epic scale, right up there with New Adventures of Lois and Clark, where they kept making these comic book-esque characters. They were a great example was on Birds of Prey. They had this one character. He had all the powers and abilities of Clayface. It was Clayface. It was hands down Clayface, and it wasn't Clayface. They just wouldn't say, this is Clayface. They made it a different character. They were like, oh, we're just making new things here. And it feels that when you have TV people and they make something new, when they have access, and legally maybe they didn't have full access, maybe Warner Brothers didn't give them all the toys in the tool chest, but it's a better story for me as a nerd when I see them using all the toys. And in Arrow, we've seen things like we've seen Arsenal, we've seen Cupid, we've seen Anarchy, we've seen Ra's al Ghul.
Boomerang.
Boomerang, yeah. He's in the crossover, yeah.
Uh-huh.
The Suicide Squad, Deadshot. Like they're like, you know what? Here, we're going to dig into the characters that DC has. And it's both Arrow and Flash do this, and I think that's something that's kept this thing running. Having seen neither of these, Ryan, which one is the dumb one?
All right. Well, like I said, I've never seen either of them because I was kind of burned by Agents of Shield. When I get into something, there's a huge echo coming. Does somebody have their sound up? All right. When I get into something, like I can't just like watch a little bit. Like I end up watching the whole series and all the spin-offs and all the everything. And it took me a long time to stop watching Agents of Shield. So like I'm kind of afraid to get into one of these because I'm like, oh god, now there's like 4 other series. Now I'm gonna have to watch like every season of every one. But one day maybe I'll check it. I've heard nothing but good things. I will say that Flash is the one that everything I've seen looks really fun, and it seems like they knew what show they were trying to make. And Arrow seems like they were trying to figure it out for a while. Like I saw the preview of the first episode and it looked really, really dumb.
That Smallville flavor.
So yeah. So I'll say Arrow is dumb, even though I've never seen it.
Follow-up question though: Agents of Shield. When did you jump off? Was it before or after Hydra?
I jumped off after Hydra, but I wished I hadn't. I wish I would have gave up a lot earlier.
Wow. And on that, I gave up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this past season because I didn't care about the Inhumans storyline. And that's all it became, was the Inhumans show. And that's not what I was watching it for.
Yeah, I just don't, like, I guess they've done more special effects lately, but I just didn't get how it looked so cheap. Like, they have money. Like, how can the Netflix shows have such good special effects and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was like, except, like, instead of a sofa, it was a, whatever the thing is that they drive around in. Like, they just talk and...
I have to wonder, does Netflix actually have a bigger budget for its shows? That might be possible.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is cheaper to show Daredevil beating up a bunch of guys than a helicarrier flying through the air. So for the same amount of money, or even less, you can get more Daredevil type effects than what they've tried to accomplish with Agents of Shield.
Okay, let's get the stupid moving forward. The dumb. The next dumb topic. Let's talk about dumb music. In this case, I honestly, just in case they ever, I don't think either one of us are going dumb on this one. I think we're earnestly trying to do something awesome here. I came across this band. Some people may have seen there was a YouTube video that went viral recently. The band is called Too Many Zoos. Sadly, the first viral video that I saw about it, they didn't have any link back to the band. It was just, hey, check out these buskers in New York, like being really talented. It turns out they were really talented musicians, not just random buskers. Too Many Zoos is actually a 3-person band. They got a guy on sax, they got a guy on trumpet, and they got a guy on drums. And the one that went viral was just the guy in sax and the guy in drums. The guy in drums, like, he wears thigh pads, he has the drum. The sax, I don't know what type of saxophone it is. It definitely isn't an alto sax. It's the one that's like 4 feet long.
I want to say it's a baritone sax.
Baritone? Did you actually see anything of Too Many Zoos?
Yes, actually, I saw that same video that was just the sax guy and the drummer.
Yeah.
And I immediately sought out more.
Yes. It's a very upbeat, catchy sound. Like, I'm definitely going to go through their Bandcamp page, buy all their stuff, just because I think it's just instrumentals. I haven't found anything that they've done with vocals. Have you found any vocals?
No.
No? I'm totally okay with that, though. It's just wild, upbeat, fast, frenetic music. If I were actually getting more planning in advance for this show, I would have contacted them and asked if we could have played a snippet. As it is, we're going to throw a link to I'll throw a link to their Bandcamp page on the YouTube posting of this, and you guys can look it up there. Brandon, what is dumb in music to you?
So there's something that a lot of people have been talking about, to the point where it's become almost insufferable. So I'm not going to talk about it. It's Hamilton, which is Lin-Manuel Miranda's hip-hop musical about Alexander Hamilton, which sounds odd, granted.
Mm-hmm.
But it is outstanding, and I've become a little bit obsessed, listening to it multiple times a week or day. I like it because it is fresh and it is catchy, and it tells the story of the Founding Fathers in a way that's accessible to everybody. There are a lot of people in a lot of different walks of life who can see themselves in this story in a way that they wouldn't be able to before. There's a big emphasis on multi-ethnic casting. In fact, I think the only 2 roles that are specifically open to Caucasians are King George, who is played sublimely as an entitled, scorned, almost ex-lover in the way that it's produced. And there's a farmer, Samuel Seabury, who is out, proselytizing for the king. It's the story basically from, it tells you a little bit about Hamilton's beginnings in the Caribbean, coming to New York, very quickly ascending, he has a lack of polish, but he's very smart. Rising up to becoming the camp to aide for George Washington, to eventually becoming Secretary of Treasury. Then interwoven through this whole story is his friendship, his on and off friendship with Aaron Burr, who became one of his first friends when he came to America from the Caribbean, and then in the end is the one who strikes him down during a duel. And the whole thing, it's very moving, it's very intense, it's very funny, and it's very accessible. There are a lot of opportunities created for Broadway performers who can rap, which I don't think we've seen a lot of in the past. Previously, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did Hamilton, also did, which also had a lot of rapping. Had a lot of it.
What was the other show that they did?
In the Heights.
In the Heights, okay.
Yeah, and that was a story mainly about a reflection of his upbringing in Washington Heights and the different types of community that were fostered there. So this cast recording, and the only reason that I'm putting this under music and not etc. as a theater piece is because it's the only way that I've had access to it so far, and unless I have many thousands of dollars to spend and a lot of time to wait, I'm not going to see it on stage anytime soon. So this counts as music to me.
I feel like on stage, if you pay more than $10, you've overpaid.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree about that.
It's a $10 bill joke.
Oh, I get it. Oh, I was a step behind on that one.
Like, do you recognize the face? Yeah, that's one ticket right there. I don't think that's ever going to work. No.
No, probably not. Probably not. But it's great. It's very. Have you listened to it or had any exposure to it?
I have. I heard about it. I want to say first on NPR. Stephen Colbert has brought on. He brought on the director, writer / star, and the guy who plays King George,
Yes.
who is a former Glee cast member.
Yep.
Was just on. In fact, it was I was catching up on some past episodes of Stephen this morning and was watching one with King George on it.
And that's a really fun episode because the guy who plays King George teaches Stephen Colbert how he does his. I don't know how you describe it. Sort of a flamboyant walk across the stage, and how that initial setup was based on the fact that his crown was really heavy, so he had to keep it balanced or he would fall over. He's phenomenal, but stealing the show is a guy named David Diggs who plays Marquis de Lafayette and also Thomas Jefferson, and one of his songs as Lafayette, called "Guns and Ships," has been rated as it's the fastest moving song in Broadway history, which displaces songs like "I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General" and some other really fast songs that have come along. And he does it. I've seen clips of him on stage because not only is he rapping faster than you or I could ever hope to try, he's also jumping around. There's a lot of jumping and dancing, and all of it, this flawless flow is really, really impressive. I've given in to the fact that I'll never see this original cast perform it live, but there is a touring company that is starting up next year in Chicago, and so
it has to be. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time that Broadway has had an original property that has had this type of impact, this type of room. It might be Rent.
I was going to say, I don't think I've seen this level of enthusiasm since Rent.
Wicked might be after Rent, but
I don't know, though, because one thing that Hamilton and Rent have in common is that they have a line of people that wait for the ticket lottery. And that was a big deal with Rent. There were people, cast members would come out and say hi or whatever. One thing that Lin-Manuel Miranda does is he performs for the people in line. So on the day of the show, he'll come out. Usually he'll bring a friend or two from other Broadway shows, which helps give them recognition, or he'll bring other cast members out. They'll perform songs from anything from Wicked to Les Mis to Hamilton itself. And they'll post a lot of that online. And so in terms of reaching out to a fan base, it's phenomenal. And it is a rabid fan base. I don't know if you've ever searched Hamilton on Tumblr, but there are some amazing pieces of fan art that are being done, which is a weird thing to say. Like, hey, have you seen this Broadway musical's fan art? Yeah. It's great.
Have you actually done fan art for it yet?
I have not. I'm about to, since I'm drawing things as we talk about it. But no, I haven't. I haven't had I don't. It hasn't inspired me in that way. But I love seeing all the stuff that's coming out that people are doing.
Let's check in with the Honorable Judge Ryan, the Lord of Estrada. Hamilton versus Too Many Zoos. Which is the dumb thing?
Well, I have heard neither of them. They both sound really interesting. But what I will say is that with Broadway shows, there's a lot of interesting things that I know I'll never see. Like, first of all, I'm not a rich person who lives in New York, and second of all, like, I live in Korea. So, like, it's weird seeing so many interesting things that just, like, so few people will ever see, that so much work goes into. That, like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say that I don't want to call an independent group of people doing street music dumb. So I'll call the big budget thing I'll never see dumb, and just hope that one day in like 20 years I'll see a really bad movie version starring Hollywood stars that should not be singing.
Well, I don't know if it'll be Hollywood stars. It's a mostly black cast.
Yeah.
Oh, social commentary on Hollywood's lack of diversity, people. Okay. If it did, I was going to not point this out. Like, the one dumb thing that I have found about too many zoos, they do spell zoos Z-O-O-Z.
Can I change my vote right now?
I think I don't know. No, don't. Brandon, can he change his vote?
Yes.
All
of
right.
course.
All right.
Okay, so
Z did it. I'm
too
sorry.
many zoos by a band misspelling, by a Motley Crue-esque misspelling. I'm trying to think of Aerosmith. Why am I getting only Hair Rock? Is it only Hair Rock is allowed to misspell their band name? Is that right?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
I think the Z thing should have ended with like 90s snack foods. Like that's
All the extreme snack foods.
yeah.
Okay.
X is in the middle, Z's at the end. It's done.
So next dumb thing to talk about. Let's talk video games. Video games for me. I want to talk about. There's a video game that is coming out theoretically. Called No Man's Sky, and I have to say theoretically because it's getting to the point now that I'm starting to worry that this might turn into a one of those epic, oh, this is going to be an amazing video game that never comes out. It has that danger to it because I first heard about this game about 6 months ago. No Man's Sky is it's this procedurally generated game where you play an explorer, you have a starship, you can go on a planet, you can go on just one planet and find every animal, every mineral on that planet, label it, tag it, or you can explore out into the world. You can go deeper and deeper. I'm trying to think. I think that the number is something like 18 billion possible planets. You cannot physically see this entire game. It is impossible. Everything's being done procedurally on the spot, so it's always a unique new game situation, but it's all the same game at the same time. In fact, everybody is going to be playing this game all at the same time. There's a huge chance you're never going to see another actual human playing with you. It's such a vast sandbox that people will be playing in. So it's very pie in the sky. It's very open-ended. It appeals to my ability to discover things, to peek through the unknown, to solve a mystery that's barely there or maybe not even there. And the idea of being able to like punch through that veil, to explore things, or just go a little bit rogue, blow up a planet in my free time, like, don't like this planet, I want just the minerals. That's perfectly allowed in this gameplay. I mean, if you do that, there's these guardians that will try to attack you and stop you from blowing up planets. If you try to say, hey, I just want to make a lot of money, so you just trade minerals over and over again, you'll get attacked by pirates. If you build up your ship into a warship situation, you could just become a pirate. You could just raid other people, and I say other people, but usually it's going to be like the computer has its own trade routes that you can run. So it's super open-ended, and part of me worries that this is like going to be like Spore, where you could do anything, and it's exciting as a generator for a day, and then it's just, oh, this is the same game over and over again, and it's not exciting anymore. Or it could be even worse, and it could be like Duke Nukem Forever, where people are waiting for it. It hasn't gotten to that level yet. the creator of the game, he did some televised appearances in the early fall. He went to a gaming place. He did announce in October that he expects it to release. Like, he finally gave a release date. For those that haven't been following it constantly, the release date is now June of next year. So,
Sure.
yeah, I'll cross my fingers on that one. Brandon, are you familiar with No Man's Sky?
Yes, I'm very excited about No Man's Sky. I think that there's so much creativity going into it, and the engine that they've built to create this universe is mind-boggling. Because not only, as you were saying, is it procedurally built, but each planet, as it's developed, using this engine that they've created, goes through evolution and goes, the animals that you see are not just different colors from planet to planet, but these are creatures that have actually evolved based on what life is like on that planet. Whether it's a lot of water, it's very rocky, hot, cold, whatever. Everything is based on those surroundings, and it seems enormous. It seems too big to be possible. So I look forward to seeing it actually happen. He was on Colbert as well, the creator of the game, and Stephen got to play a little bit of it, the in progress, and it looks really cool. And I love open world games for that reason. I've never played Grand Theft Auto all the way through because I wind up just wandering around and exploring because that's way more interesting to me, and that's where a lot of the work goes into the game is not always in writing the go kill the rival gang side plot lines, but in the absolute detail that goes into it. And so the idea that you could take that and expand it to billions of planets that you can never hope to completely explore it's cool. It's just a really neat way to go about developing a new game.
I'm looking over at the cheat sheet. We can segue into your video game suggestion. This is also another somewhat open-ended game, right?
Yes. So I want to talk about Super Mario Maker, which is so much fun. And it's a game that my son is 12, and he and I can both have a lot of fun with it in different ways. He's been doing a lot of... he started out creating his own levels. And for those who don't know, Super Mario Maker is basically creating your own side-scrolling Mario levels using a huge toolbox that you're given of piranha plants and Yoshis and invincibility stars, everything that you've seen in the series in all of the 2D games, the side-scroller games rather, you get to use. And it's fun to build different levels that do cool things. You can go online and look at, I think there are millions of uploaded levels at this point that people have put together, and it's everything from recreations of levels from the original games to using amiibos. You can actually turn the Mario character into other things. So you can turn it into Samus Aran from Metroid and create a Metroid-esque level to go along with it. It's really flexible, and there's so much imagination going into these levels. And my son goes in and he checks out all these new levels, and some of them are incredibly hard, very frustrating. Some of them you don't do anything at all. You just stand there and it starts moving, like it pulls you along and bounces you to all these different places, which I can appreciate the skill and the patience and the crafting that goes into that, but I don't want to play a video game to watch Mario go across the screen, But those are very clever, and they're just, people are finding new ways to approach it all the time. And that's the perfect game for me, is one that grows and is flexible.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Mario Maker episode level where you load it up, and then you realize it's Battletoads.
Oh, God.
You just, shudder in terror. Like, oh, no. No.
Well, in order to upload a level, you have to be able to beat it. So you're going to have to find someone who can create the level, a Battletoads level, and actually beat it. And I think those people are pretty few and far between, if I remember correctly from my frustrating days.
There is a temple that Ryan has probably visited. That is the Temple of Battletoad. I'm guessing it's in South America, up a steep mountain, but still in a cave, just for fun, where the three Masters of Battletoads, that's where they reside. Ryan, what can you tell us about the Masters of Battletoads?
They're dead, all of them.
Wait, did you kill them?
No, I didn't kill him. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh gosh, we were this close to getting a murder confession on the first episode of Five Dumb Things. It would have been like, what's dumb? Tomorrowland is dumb. Too Many Zoos is dumb.
Killed some guys.
And
murdered some people.
Ryan Estrada murdering people, kind of dumb. Okay, Mario Maker or No Man's Sky, which one is the dumb one in your opinion? First off, are you familiar with both games?
I'm familiar with Mario Maker. I've never used it, but I played a lot of Mario back in the day. Not familiar with the other. So probably, even though the first one sounds incredibly fascinating, I would probably never play it just because I haven't played video games in a long time, and I don't have any. I just don't, except for like Portal. So I'm gonna say the only one I would probably ever play just for nostalgia factor is the Mario one. So I'm gonna say whatever the first one was dumb, even though I know nothing about it.
Okay, so oh, by the way, Arrow is dumb as well, and no, I'm totally okay with saying that No Man's Sky is dumb right now because I was thinking I was going to be playing it like 2 months ago, so that makes me okay with saying dumb. The last category we have is etc. I don't know what you put here, Brandon. I'm not familiar with what you did.
Really?
Really?
All right. Well, that's exciting. So here's what I put in. There is, and I'm gonna put this out up front that this may involve some spoilers for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So fast forward ahead a couple minutes if you don't want to hear spoilers.
Okay.
So in The Force Awakens, the character of Kylo Ren is interesting. He's sort of what we kind of always wanted Anakin to be, where he's just dark and brooding and incompetent. And it's an interesting combination. And so someone has created the emo Kylo Ren Twitter account. And it is hysterical. If you're familiar with the movie, it makes a lot more sense. But it has some posts such as, what's the word for when your father is frozen in carbonite, but emotionally for your whole childhood? So it's things like that. My dad just knocked over my model Death Star and broke it, but he did not apologize. He said people should stop making Death Stars. I'm shaking. So it's stuff like that. A lot of it has to do with his parentage, also his love of Darth Vader. One of his posts is, I miss Darth Vader every day, but I've never even met him. And it just goes on and on and on. It's very funny. There are 135 tweets so far on it. It's at Kylo R3N. He talks about his LiveJournal page at one point, and I think it's hysterical. It makes me very happy. It's a perfect reaction and homage to that character as it exists.
All right, and then my dumb thing real quick. I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen, and then actually remember to flip the thing over to me real quick. It is there. We're seeing this, right? If a dog wore pants, would he wear them like this or like this?
This thing is huge. This
thing just like, this is white dress versus black dress huge. It just like exploded in an insane way, and it is dumb. I will absolutely say that is one of the dumbest things that, and I think everyone's looking at it like this is dumb, and the dumbest part about it is that I think everybody has the same reaction where for some reason their brain actually has to answer the question. Like, so the answer is obvious, right? Yeah. Like your pants go over your butt.
Yeah.
So it's obviously, yes, they have 4 legs, but it's got to cover the butt, so the front legs will pretend they're arms.
This is going to be audio at some point, isn't it? Is there going to be an audio version of this? Because I think you need to explain in graphic detail what we're looking at.
Okay, so I'm now not going to show the audience. I'm just going to look at it, and you can look at my face as I try to. It is literally just a poorly, crudely drawn dog, and it says, "If a dog wore pants, would he wear them like this?" And it shows a pair of pants covering all four legs and belted up against the dog, like it basically like from the ground up. It's wearing pants, which means that its butt is hanging over the top of these pants. Or would he wear them like this, and it shows that same exact dog drawing, but the front paws, everything is naked, and for better description, like at the waist. So there's like a hole for the tail is popped through. So does that make sense? Did I paint a beautiful picture of stupidity?
I think you painted a far more beautiful picture in our minds than exists in that GIF.
But I think what we're saying is we all want to see dogs wear pants. Yes?
I don't know about all of that.
Do you want to wear? Do you want to see dogs wear pants?
Not particularly. I think that they're happier without pants. The dogs that I've seen in my life wearing pants do not seem to be thrilled to be wearing pants.
I think the process of dressing up animals isn't so much for them to keep the clothes on; it's just to annoy them while you're doing it. I think annoying an animal is the main reason for dog coats and cat boots and like all that stuff. You just want to pick on your cat or your dog.
That is rude.
And now, Ryan, how many countries in your life have you been to?
I've been like 20, something like that. I've been to a lot of countries.
20 something. When we're talking about dressing up dogs, are we talking about just the USA?
No. There's street stands here in Korea where people sell dog coats and cat costumes and superhero suits and capes and. Dogs are very much accessories here. They'll like dye their ears pink and tails like to match their cell phones, and decorating animals is big here.
Okay, one moment. I need to stop for an important message. Korea, thank you for having our back on this one. We know it's stupid. Okay. All right. So we've got emo Kylo Ren. We've got dogs. How would they wear pants? Which is the dumb thing, and is it the dumbest thing that you've ever seen?
All right. Well, as the creator of a novelty Twitter account, which is I run @ForExposureText, I will say that novelty Twitter accounts are really, really dumb. However, that dog thing is even dumber than running a novelty Twitter account, and I can say that definitively as a dude who runs a really, really dumb Twitter. So I'm gonna say the dog pants thing is the dumbest thing of the show.
I actually follow your novelty Twitter account, which is terrifying, to be quite honest. It's an account of people trying to get artists and creative personalities to just do things for free. Just for
and
exposure.
the thing is, a lot of people think that it's stuff that I made up. Like, like they think it's like the Kylo Ren thing, where it's things I'm making up to make fun of people to do that. Every single thing, there's an actual quote from someone who thought that was a good way to get free art, and sometimes it works, which is scary.
I love the For Exposure TXT Twitter account, but I do not regularly follow it. I'll follow it for a while, and then I'll have to stop because it makes me sad and angry.
Yeah, the Twitter follower account just goes up and down as people people are constantly telling me when they rage quit, like I gotta stop, man, I can't do it.
Okay, that is the 5 dumb things. The 5 dumb things for those keeping score at home was Tomorrowland is dumb, Arrow is dumb, Too Many Zoos is dumb, No Man's Sky is dumb, and if a dog wore pants, would he wear them like this or like this is dumb, and possibly the dumbest of everything that we've talked about today. Let's do some shameless plugs and then say goodbye to everybody. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Ryan, you are a guest judge. What would you like to shamelessly plug?
Well, check out RyanEstrada.com. On there's a link to Broken Telephone that probably in a few days it'll be the whole thing you can read. And if you're listening to an old episode in the spring, I'll have a podcast called Big Data that will be coming out.
All right. Brandon, what is your shameless plug today?
I have no specific plugs at this point, so I'm just going to plug myself on Twitter, Brandon J. Carr. Sometimes I'm funny. Sometimes I post drawings, such as tonight. I posted another drawing that was also Kylo Ren themed, so there's a bit of a theme there. And you can get to all my other stuff from there, usually.
All right. I am Darren J. Gendron. I'm going to plug my Facebook page, facebook.com/Darren J. Gendron. That's my stand-up comedy page where you can find out about my upcoming shows. I'm actually going to be leaving the house right now to go host my final No Blender Bar show. It's a show that I have been running for about 6 months, and I've been saying that they fired me from it. The word got out that they didn't actually fire me. They actually promoted me to the Friday late night show. So I'll be hosting that at Flappers in Burbank. So if you want to come out and see me sling jokes, I'm there every Friday at 11:30. And this Tuesday, January 5th, I will be at Tommy T's Comedy Steakhouse in Pleasanton, California.
Comedy Steakhouse. That's
Comedy.
Don't. do I get to decide whose plug is the dumbest?
Whose plug was the dumbest?
I'll go with mine.
Oh.
I want at least 1 point. In this.
You want one dumb point?
Eventually, we'll decide how these points work, because either I won tonight or I lost real bad.
It was pretty dumb. I gotta say that it was dumb. And for Brandon J. Carr and Ryan Estrada, I'm gonna say thank you very much. You guys, as the viewers, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think is dumb. If you disagree with any of our picks, let us know. If there's something that's dumb that we have to see, send it to us. You could also contact us through Gmail at 5dumbthings@gmail.com. All right, thank you. Bye.